Lasso of Truth time, my little drunkarinos. We're diving deep to find Wonder Woman's best kept secrets. I'm Sasha Pearl Raver, and this is Screen Junkies News. "75 years, y'all. 75 years. But Wonder Woman, which has been in nonstop print since her first solo title in 1942, was finally released in theaters last night. It's certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes with a 93% rating and has already made $11 million in previews as of the taping of this, and it's tracking to upwards of $90 million this weekend. But like I said, 75 years! So we thought we'd take a look at Wonder Woman's history and try to figure out what took so long to get us here. Well, with me to dissect are my dear friends, Matt Key and Daniel Radford, big Wonder Woman nerds. We're just gonna do that the whole video.
Yeah, that's the whole video. Like 7 minutes of just like high pitch.
So since you are king of nerds around here,
I don't know. I mean,
you have a crown. He has a crown. He just doesn't wear it on camera. Give us some of the backstory on Wonder Woman's origins.
The origins are awesome. Like, I love her origin story. Created by a dude named William Moulton Marston in the late 30s, early 40s. He was a consultant for DC, and they needed more. DC, like the parent companies that created DC, they needed more characters because Superman's huge, Batman's huge, and he was like, well, we need a female. So he based Wonder Woman on his wife, Elizabeth Holloway Marston, and their live-in lover named Olive. What was her? Olive Byrne? Yeah, so picture this. It's the 40s. They have an arrangement, a polyamorous arrangement that he's married, but they both also love Olive Byrne, and Olive Byrne lives with them. So the character of Wonder Woman is based on his wife. The appearance of Wonder Woman is based on Olive Byrne, who he's even quoted as saying wore bracelets all the time, and the gauntlets are partially based on that.
Yeah. Wow. And not only that, but those two ladies are super important to the origin of Wonder Woman, because when he was approached by the parent companies that then later became DC to come up with a new hero, he was talking with his wife, Elizabeth, and she was like, oh, I don't care, like, just make it a woman.
When he was trying
to describe what kind of hero he wanted, because he was very specifically like, I want a hero that is about how love is the answer and like war sucks and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, okay, cool. Just make sure it's a woman. And so that is how Wonder Woman became a woman, was through his wife.
I love that.
And like back in the 30s, like this guy was futurist female. Like this dude is like a male feminist, like back in the 30s, going, no, men suck. We're awful. We're very aggressive, warmongering jerks. Women can be that, but women are that because men force their masculine qualities onto them, basically. The default sort of feminine position is one of love, acceptance, nurturing.
So some of her coolest stuff, like the Lasso of Truth. Where does the Lasso of Truth come from?
Well, it's not 100% from this, but William Marston and his wife were both psychologists. I believe Olive was also a psychologist, and all three of them were inventors. They did all of this stuff together, by the way. Even after William died, the two women lived together until they both died.
I'm honestly seeing a spin-off movie here.
It's amazing. It's really amazing.
The legit origin story of Wonder Woman, but it's about this polyamorous big love situation where they're inventing
in the 40s,
stuff.
Yeah.
You could do a Masters of Sex, back in time, Showtime TV.
Yes.
Masters of Sex, big love.
Let's write this. We're going to go work on this today.
But seriously, with the DC stuff, and you're seeing the inception of the beginning of oh, come on.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. Yeah.
So anyway, Lasso of Truth.
William he was a psychologist, and he believed that human blood pressure may have something to do with lying. And he created one of the predecessors to the lie detector test. Yep. He and his wife. There's some people who believe that maybe the Lasso of Truth came partially from his, he was obsessed with the truth of things and thought that women were inherently honest, and that it was male culture that pushed women towards more dishonest behavior.
Yeah, like his big thing is, which is so much of the stuff that he does has to do with the truth that it's almost like, oh honey, who hurt you? Like,
Yeah.
what happened?
Yeah, what happened,
Why
boy?
are you like, everyone's a liar and I need to know the truth? Who hurt you?
Yeah.
Poor dude.
But then also I don't fully understand his psychology and philosophy behind this, but he believed that men were male qualities were much more aggressive in their attempts at finding freedom, and that women were like lovingly submissive, and like he didn't mean that in a pejorative way. It was like women, like if all people, it's a very kind of Christological way to approach it. If all people were submissive to each other in a loving way, and the phrase that I found in researching this was loving submission to loving authority. If all people were like that, then it would be like a lovely, wonderful, loving world, you know? And there's a part of people that some people speculate that maybe the lasso of truth and that sort of binding, the submissive nature of tying someone up, also came from his philosophy.
So basically, it's just a metaphor for marriage.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, and so he's got, we dug up a quote, because we like quotes. So his quote on kind of that and the idea of taking it from kind of that idea of everyone loves everybody and everyone feels like, okay, submitting to love, was about why he also thought it was so important that she not just be about love, but also be about power. So he said, not even girls want to be girls so long as our feminine archetype lacks force, strength, and power. Not wanting to be girls, they don't want to be tender, submissive, peace-loving as good women are. Women's strong qualities have become despised because of their weakness. The obvious remedy is to create a feminine character with all of the strength of Superman, plus the allure of a good and beautiful woman.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was Marston to the American Scholar in 1943.
Which I feel like they've achieved. I mean, some of that stuff I'm like, wait, do I need to take issue with this? But no, but this is an iconic character. Why did it take this long? Why? I mean, I loved the TV show, but the truth is the TV show back in the 80s did not last that long. And there have been multiple attempts that failed.
Oh
right?
boy. Yes, there have been.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Well, there was
have
the first.
fun.
Oh, geez. So there was a Wonder Woman pilot, Wonder Woman Who's Afraid of Diana Prince, back in 1967, where they were trying to make her feel like Batman.
Yeah, that's sort of like very campy.
kapow!
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
which-
I mean, just look.
There you go.
Which could have worked, but so much of this first scene is literally Wonder Woman, and there's like a weird,
Wait.
like a boy-yoing effect here as she goes to fly. It's like, boy-yo-yo-yo-yo-yo-yo-yo.
Oh,
Like, she
no,
goes to fly.
that's horrible.
The whole beginning scene is her and her mom arguing because she's like, oh no, it's raining and Steve can't get out.
Presumably Steve Trevor,
Steve
yeah.
Trevor, yeah, can't get out and he needs to come back, so I'm going to go fly and get him. And her mom's like, well, you need to eat. And when are you going to find a man? And
When are you gonna get married?
Oh,
All the women
yeah,
on the block are making
man.
fun of you.
This is awful.
Yeah.
Okay, so mercifully, that died a relatively
that
quick
didn't
death. How
happen.
long did that last? That was just a pilot?
just
That was,
pilot.
and I don't even know if they made a full pilot. I think all they ever had was that 5 minutes of
sad.
just like absolute torture to watch. Like it is like the Hollywood Reporter
Oy.
dug it up and reported on it, and they called it like the Mad Men era. And like watching that, you're just like, yeah. that was a time in our history.
right.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the first failed attempt in 1967. Then
Yeah.
there's another one in 1974.
Yes. I don't know. I don't really know too much about this one, except that Kathy Lee Crosby was in it, and it featured a jumpsuit.
Oh, whoa.
There we
and
go.
A blonde Wonder Woman.
And a blonde Wonder Woman.
That
Like,
kind
yeah.
of I can't do it with a blonde Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
It weirds me out. I kind
Yeah.
of love the jumpsuit though. It's very like Olympic.
It is
It's very Olympic, and
Oh,
this is
no.
like-
What is that? Is it cement? Why are they different colors?
Why are they
What's
different
happening?
colors?
Yeah,
There's
no one
multiple
knows.
colors cement running down the walls.
Yeah.
But it's okay because you got sleeves, so you'll be safe.
See?
Yeah, but a year later we got Linda Carter, and that was on ABC for a year, got canceled.
Oh, yes.
CBS picked it up and it ran for another
Sick.
2.
Yes.
So-
But then I wasn't alive when it first aired, but I feel like this $6 Million Man, like these were all things that like were in constant repeat when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I used to watch it all the time. I didn't know until I was much older that the show, number one, only lasted for a few seasons,
Yeah.
and number two, like hadn't even been on when I was alive. It just like played all the time, kind of like how All in the Family played All in the Family
Yep.
when I was a kid.
And
Yeah.
Brady Bunch, and same. Like I found when I was a kid, it had been off the air for like ever, and so I just I'm young, but so I watched Wonder Woman and the old '60s Batman and Robin over and
I
over and
loved
over
those
again.
too.
Oh, I loved Wonder Woman when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Could not get enough of her.
Well, and then they tried again in 2011.
Yeah.
I remember this being talked about a lot.
It was huge at the time.
They were really going for this, and this was something that everybody thought was going to be a big deal. I do love me some Rosamund Pike.
Right. I think it was just, so for this, it was confusing because you have Adrienne Palicki there. So she is essentially, she is one character, she is Wonder Woman, but the conceit of this is that as Wonder Woman feels the need to portray herself as three different people to get through life. So she is Wonder Woman, the icon.
Okay.
Then she is also Diana Prince, who is like the CEO of Wonder Woman Industries, who takes care of all of Wonder Woman's branding. And then she is also some assistant to Diana Prince.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
It's
So
a mess.
essentially you have Wonder Woman having to be Wonder Woman, a CEO, which that's kind of common, and also the CEO's like
Assistant, yeah.
And so I think it was just too much. Even me explaining it now, I'm getting lost, and I know what happened. So I think that was part of the conceit of, or that conceit's what made it way too confusing. for
Not to
people.
mention,
There's too many layers.
It wasn't written well. Like I watched part of the leak pilot. I watched I could only get through half of it, and I was like,
Wow.
this is real bad. Like the production quality was really low. Like it was very basic across the board. It was just like, wow, this is bad. Like even for a pilot, this is bad.
Yeah, and there was some leaked footage you could see. We played footage earlier where she's kind of running and jumping over the cars, and that wound up getting leaked when people were really psyched for it. And of course, she's shooting it. So, and Adrienne Palicki was doing it herself. It wasn't a stunt person when they were shooting, and so she missed a couple of times because that happens.
That happens,
But because
yeah.
of that, people were like, "Well, now this is gonna suck." It's like, do you think that she's Wonder Woman? She can't
Do
really.
you actually think that she is I mean, she's tall and she's very strong, but
Yeah.
But that did kind of mess it up. I think if she, as weird as it is to say, in this kind of era of leaks and all of those things, if there would have been a leak of her running and nailing it to applause, I think that would have been taken differently than you seeing her over and over and over again,
Yeah.
kind of miss it and not quite get it. It's
Interesting.
weird.
Do you think that if the show had gone forward, it would have in any way? Also, that is a very badly cut brief. It's just my personal opinion, but I do not like that brief cut. Do you think that if it had been successful in any way, it would have changed the way that they're dealing with this? Because I do think that one of the problems with the Flash movie is it is so successful on the CW. Personally, I think it's probably the best of those shows in the Arrowverse. And I think it's difficult when you have a really strong fan expectation to bring together a film that is very, very different and also fulfills all of the fan needs. Do you think that if that show had gone to air, this movie would be in any way not what we've gotten? Do you think in some ways like the failure of 2011 gave us the success of 2017?
I could agree with that, definitely.
I think that's a very strong possibility. Like I would need to go do some research and write a dissertation on it.
Please do.
Yes.
But I do think that there's something legitimately to that. I think that part, like you're saying, like the Flash is so good, more or less, that it's like they're having a hard time with it. I also think that there's just like some creative problems on the Flash, just in general with like Warner Brothers, what they want versus what the creators are bringing in. Because I do think Warner Brothers is trying very hard to follow a Marvel Studios thing and be like, hey, we want our universe interconnected. But I think they're also trying to do something very different from Marvel and like giving their directors very full creative control, but the visions have to match.
Yeah. So I want to hear theories. Because this is such a beloved character, because Linda Carter was like such a totem of our childhoods, why do you think it took them this long to go big screen, not small screen?
Sure.
Like, why not launch with this?
Well, I think you have to. You've got to go back to the idea that many of people have said that kind of the 1960s Batman made people think a certain way about comic book movies and movies based on comic books. You know, obviously we had the Donner Superman, and those were great. Then we also had Supergirl, which I love. It is one of my favorite movies.
Love.
But we all know what movie that is.
I love that movie.
It's a great movie. We all know what
I
movie
love
that
Helen
is.
Slater. I love that movie. I love that she's on Supergirl. I love that movie.
I 100% agree with you. But not everyone agrees with that.
Well,
Somehow
people
good it
don't
is.
agree or wrong.
But so, and so then you get to the era where, we're starting to take
them
comic book
seriously,
movies
right?
a little
Yeah.
more seriously, and then we get Catwoman. And I think if
Not the Michelle
Catwoman-
Pfeiffer version.
Not the Michelle Pfeiffer version. We
just
get
Yeah.
standalone Halle Berry.
Has nothing to do with
So-
Batman, but steals
yeah.
the name.
Oh
Yep.
man, that
And-
was rough.
And
Yeah.
and also we get Elektra on the Marvel side, which was also rough. And so
Yeah.
you look at those and you go, well, I don't want my iconic character to flop in the way that these have not worked. So maybe you take a couple of steps back.
Yeah.
And now you're at a point where there are, you had the Hunger Games, which was selling everything everywhere with, and it was led by a strong lady, and you're going with other movies where, again, we're taking comic book stuff very seriously, but it could also be very light and very fun. Maybe now is when you go, I can take that chance because we're kind of far enough away from the Electras and the Catwoman. Catwomen? Woman? Woman.
Women is
Catwomen's. I also think that there's something to be said for like, oftentimes, like when we do like a female character, we're like, we want a strong female character. We just imbue the female character with male traits. So it's like, it's Superman, but a lady. And it's like, you can't, it has to go further than that. Like women have different qualities than men, typically. Like it's not across the board, but there's a spectrum of feminine and masculine. And so oftentimes we make our superheroes masculine. And it's like, no, there's very strong feminine qualities that you can give to a superhero and still have them be strong and heroic and amazing. And I think a lot of times studios and creators have missed the mark on that and instead have made very strong women characters who are mostly masculine in a lot of ways,
You know what I do? And I think that one of the benefits, because you do hear a lot of people say, well, essentially Wonder Woman is just Lady Superman, because they went in such a different direction with Superman in this round of movies, that opens it up for a Wonder Woman who can be
Oh,
different.
that's interesting. Very interesting.
One final point I'll make. When you say Superman, well, who's he going to fight? Oh, he could fight Brainiac. He could fight Lex Luthor. He could fight all these incredible. Well, Batman, who's he going to fight? Oh, he's going to fight the Joker. He's going to fight Scarecrow. Who's Wonder Woman going to fight? Ares, maybe? Like there's not an immediate fight when you say Wonder Woman. So
Right.
studios have made the argument, well, she's not as marketable. We can't really
Right.
market her
You know what
because we
she's
don't know the
fighting
rogues
at?
gallery.
She's fighting the patriarchy.
Yeah.
But that's not a rogues gallery.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Kids don't dress like the patriarchy for Halloween.
They do,
We're
they
not-
just
I'm
don't
going
know
to
it.
this year. You just gave me my Halloween costume,
See?
the
Look at that.
patriarchy.
And the rest of us will all go as Wonder Woman. We want to know why you thought it took 75 years to get to the big screen. Let us know in the comments below. You can tweet us at SJ News. Make sure to like and subscribe. Of course, you can always click here for more Screen Junkies news. See you soon.